operate in truth, right? Operate in truth, tell the truth.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Huddle Up Gators. On this special episode, I am honored to have David Soderquist from Hightop Sports. Sorry to mess that up, Dave. But yeah. But anyways, Dave, thank you for coming on. For those that don't know, Dave, big-time Gator reporter, formerly of Gator Country, and now of Hightop Sports. He's the guy that has been instrumental to me as I started this podcast, has given me some great tips and tricks behind the scenes. So I definitely want to bring him on as a big special guest for the opening week of the season against Miami. How are you doing tonight, Dave?
Oh, man, I'm doing great, man. I always love the week before game one of the season because you get all these opportunities for these shows to come on there. And I've always listened to your show and I've always appreciated like what you've done. And it's very different. It's a cool concept. So I've always been kind of like low key in my mind cheering you on to have you continue doing this thing. So that's kind of like why I reached out to you a little bit. And, I'm always willing to help people out when they're starting a podcast or if they need some advice for something. I'm a big time audio nerd. I do a lot of electrical work and all this other kind of stuff. Shelton's a big video nerd, so we get along great. So, anytime anybody needs any advice and they're starting up a podcast, man, let me know. I'll help you out.
For sure. And I again can vouch for that. So, Dave, you're coming on to Huddle Up Gators. I'm very curious to your story. I know that you live in Georgia. So how can you tell us about your Gator history?
My family is, we actually grew up in Pensacola. We were part of like Escambia, but we were part of the bad part of Escambia. That's why we moved to Woodstock, Georgia. And I've just been here ever since I've been growing up and going to school here, elementary school, high school, middle school, kind of just stuck here. But my fandom has always been with the Florida Gators. My mom was a Gator fan. My dad was a Miami Hurricanes fan, and he loved the Miami Hurricanes in the 80s, the 90s, and he kind of, I don't know if he bandwagoned to them or not when he was older, but I was born in 84, so we were used to watching Miami Hurricane and Gator games in the house. And when Miami and Florida used to play each other, it was funny because me and my dad and my mom would be going at it all the time. But yeah, man, I mean, it was fun. I mean, like you can't take away like the I guess the emotional part of football when you're watching it in front of a screen. I mean, like, you'll meet me. I'm the most calm, laid back dude and pretty funny. I like to be comical as well. But man, you get me in front of a TV screen watching Florida Gator football, I'm either going to get really mad, I'm either going to be really happy, or I'm just going to be just sitting there just chilling. There's some games that I'll watch, and even if we're doing really bad, I'll just sit back and watch because I'm just curious. Like, I'm curious, are they going to put the backup in? How's the backup going to do? How are the second string guys? I mean, we're already getting blown out. Let's see how these guys are. So I'm always still entertained, even if we're losing a game, just because I like to, I guess, just kind of see where the team is. And like, when you recruit these guys and you got the second string guys that you recruited in like the 2024 class or something, and maybe they take the field or you're blowing a team out and they take the field. I'm really curious when that kind of stuff happens. So like, I'm one of those guys that like, if I'm there live at a game, even if we're losing, I'm still in the stands watching it just because I'm curious to see what the team will do next.
Yeah. And, talking about having a good time, when the team's losing, sometimes that reminds me, and I don't know if I've told this on the podcast before, but I was in the stands in Vegas for the Vegas Bowl. 2 years ago, we're getting blown out by Oregon State. And of course, we're waiting to see if we'd score. And we kicked the field goal to get our score, keep the streak going. And pretty much it's my cousin, his wife, and I, only ones in our section. We've got a few Oregon State fans like to the sections around us, but very sparse. And I take my hat off and I'm just like, yeah, we scored. And I'm celebrating. And they're looking like, why is he celebrating? And when I did that, I forgot I had sunglasses on my hat here, flings, and the way they've got their upper levels, and I'm sure other stadiums have this, but they've got like plexiglass to make sure, people aren't just falling over. Well, the glasses fling and hit the plexiglass, so it's just like bang. I'm like, what is that? Oh crap, my glasses. And here I am just having a good time. Oregon State fans like, why is he cheering? They're losing by like 4 touchdowns. And it's like, you had an opportunity to break a major streak and you didn't. Victory for us, and we'll take the moral victory today for what it's worth.
Well, it's funny. We all called that one of those bowl games that you don't count because there was so many kids that opted out, and all those Florida State fans were giving us hell about it. Turn around the next year, they're losing 63-3 to Georgia after their players opted out. So it comes tenfold sometimes.
Hell yeah. But anyways, so how did you choose between your dad's allegiance and your mom's allegiance, since he was kind of a Miami fan and your mom was a Gator?
It was weird when I was a kid. I guess I just kind of stuck with the home, like the main home team, Florida Gators. There's a lot more Gator fans in our family than anything else. So I kind of just like stuck with that. I really wanted to I liked my dad, and I really wanted to be a Miami fan when I was young. And I was just like, I don't know. I like the colors though, too. I like the blue and orange colors. So kind of like as a kid, I kind of just like gravitated to the University of Florida rather than Miami. And my dad didn't care. Like my dad was, I wish he was still here. He died in 08. He was the nicest guy you'd ever meet. Funny as anything, comical too. When he lost, like, especially like, if Miami lost to Florida, he would like purposely like throw this like joking tantrum just so like we as kids would laugh. And so it was really, really cool. So I miss my dad, but yeah, we would sit down, we'd watch all the Miami Hurricane games, we'd watch all the Florida Gator games, and if they were on at the same time, we had 2 TVs sitting in there, you know, the old school way where you had 2 big tube TVs and you're changing the channels on both, watching them both at the same time, or you're recording it on a VHS tape. So I mean, I miss my dad, but hey, I love my Gators, so I got to be rooting for them this weekend.
Oh, definitely. So, you know, interesting way to grow up. When was the first time you made it to the Swamp?
The first time, this is bad too. I hate telling this story because people are gonna be like, "What? You cover the Gators? This is the first time you were ever in the Swamp?" 2018 spring game, Dan Mullen. First time I ever been to the Swamp. I mean, I lived in Georgia my whole life, like North Georgia. Never even thought about going to a Gator game. I just watch it on TV, and I was just like, I told my wife, I was like, man, well, we're starting to know a couple of people that, you know, over the internet. Why don't we just go to a Gator game with them and hang out with them? So we did that. We hung out at I think it was the Buddy Martin tailgate we hung out at, and we met a bunch of folks there. And that's the first time I met Dave too. That's a funny story too. I can tell that one real quick. I listened to Gators Breakdown prior to going to that game, and Dave has a really distinct like Southern voice. So I go to use the restroom, and somebody's peeing beside me, and it's Dave, and I didn't know. And we're in mid pee, like he's like talking, and I was like, "Hey, are you the guy from Gators Breakdown?" Right in the middle of just urinating, and he's like, "Yeah." Hey, he goes, "Let's get out of here first, and we'll go talk, whatever." So we get out of there. I was kind of buzzed too because we were tailgating, and then we hung out that day at the tailgate. We've been buddies ever since, man. I've known Dave for 6 years now, going, and we're hanging out in Harmonic Woods every time when we go down to Gainesville. So yeah, I mean, it's a fun atmosphere, man. I love going down to Gainesville, win or lose, man. The tailgating, the atmosphere, the people, I love it. Like, you can't take anything away from me. No matter whether you win or lose, you can't take that away.
Definitely. And heck, you just blew through some of my questions. I was going to get you to talk about Harmonic Woods. No, that's fine. That's fine. Could you expound on the Harmonic Woods tailgate for maybe those of us who have not experienced it?
Oh man, you're missing out if you don't go to Harmonic Woods tailgate. Like, at least stop by. Like, I know there's people out there that have like other tailgates they like going to, and that's cool. That's fine. Harmonic Woods is just something you have to see. Yeah, I mean, you just stop by, you see it. We've had people stop by for 10 minutes or plan to stop by for 10 minutes and they're there for like 2 hours, and then they go to their next tailgate. But I mean, as far as like events, games, raffles, sometimes like former Gators will show up to that tailgate. You've got Stephen Harris plans to be there, so he'll be there. I mean, you've got Kevin O'Sullivan who stopped by our tailgate multiple times. Unfortunately, I was never there, but luckily last year's Tennessee game, I was there. You have Shane Matthews, Sean Kelly stops by there. I mean, a bunch of people stop by there, and it's just one of those tailgates. It's like, it's been around for so long, and just the events and the games and the way they present it and the people are really friendly there too. Like even if you're an opposing fan base or opposing team, you want to come and just drink at a tailgate and have some fun. Come on. I mean, come on by. They're welcoming. We're welcoming as heck. We just ask that, like, if you do come by, try to BYOB. I always try to buy extras if for guests that don't have anything, because there's one game that we play and you've seen it on the timeline. It's called Thunderstruck. And when you play Thunderstruck and you get stuck in the middle, you're drinking for a while until that one verse ends, and then you go back into the circle. So that game is the funnest game. They try to do one like every hour, but sometimes there's too much going on. But we always have a wheel that you spin too. So after every Thunderstruck, there's a wheel you spin. There's two people that spin it. And sometimes it can land on repeat thunder. So you're doing another Thunderstruck right after that. And there's just multiple games that they play with it, and it's fun. So if you guys have never, just stop by Harmonic Woods Tailgate. It's a blast.
I definitely think I will try and swing by this weekend for sure.
Yeah, come on by.
So what are some of your personal favorites for the Gators? Like, who is your favorite Gator player of all time?
Oh, all time. Yes, I looked at that too, and I was just like, the most cliche one you would pick was Tim Tebow, right? That's cliche, but I want to go a little bit further. I've always liked Green. Green was like my favorite wide receiver. Like, I watched him as a kid, and I was just like, who's this kid, Dad? He was like, I don't know, but he's making me mad because he'd be playing Miami or Florida State. So I had some Florida State fans in my family. They would watch. I mean, we played them every year, and they hated us when Spurrier was there. Like, they absolutely hated us. And it was tough. It was tough for the Florida State fans in my family to watch Florida beat them, and especially the national championship game where, they beat us that year, and we go and play in the national championship, just completely blow them out. So that was, I would say he was probably like my favorite growing up. But I would say, between growing up and now, I mean, you have, I mean, I would have to pick Spurrier. Like, Spurrier was like my all-time favorite. I mean, like, you have to pick it. I mean, he's legendary. I mean, obviously he's still working at the school now, but I mean, like, just the moxie that he had and just the confidence and the arrogance. He was hilarious. Like, I mean, he had it all. He had swag and everything. So, like, that's what you want to see out of a head coach, just as a person. But man, like, Spurrier has to be the ultimate guy that you pick if it's like one of your favorite former players, one of your favorite coaches, one of your favorite anything. Like, he did it all. He won championships. He played the game. And like I said, his personality will always resonate with me forever because I loved his personality. I'm glad he's still here with us.
Oh, yeah. And hopefully we get a few more fun Spurrier quips over the next few years.
Yeah. I'm sure we will.
So, do you have a favorite Gator game? I know some people do, some people don't.
This one pops right off the 2008 Florida-Georgia game. That was my all-time favorite game because I live in Georgia, so I'm around Georgia fans all the time, and it sucks. I'm used to it though because I've been around. I like to see the Georgia symbol everywhere. I mean, like, you see it everywhere you go down here. So I mean, like, when I see it, I'm not really as like, get that guy out of here because I'm so used to it, right? But me and my brother were living together at the time, and we lived near a Taco Mac, and we were probably within walking distance to the Taco Mac. So we're just like, hey, let's go up here, let's get hammered and watch the game, and because we knew it was gonna be good. I mean, like, there were some big names in that game, like Noshawn Marino, Matthew Stafford. I mean, there was all these big time names, and some people were picking Georgia. There was a lot of people picking Georgia. Some of them were picking Florida. Like, everybody thought this game was going to be really close. And, you go in there and it's like, I think it was like 14-3 at halftime. So like the Georgia fans are like, we'll come back. And, we had a rough first half. We'll come back, whatever. And they just get completely blown out after halftime. Yep. All the Georgia fans are mad. Me and my brother are hammered. And we're just like making dog barking noises, mocking them the whole time we're up at the bar. I mean, I'm only 24 years old, so I'm spunky and I'm being a jerk. And this bartender's like, hey, can you guys like stop for a little bit? And I'm like, oh, he goes, there's people outside waiting on you. We're having to call the police. I'm like, what? For what? What do we do? There was people waiting for us to leave, to jump us out in the parking lot. They're like, I'm going to beat them. Like, They were yelling outside, and we didn't even know because our backs were turned to like the door. So literally, the Woodstock police had to come up there to make sure that they left, so we wouldn't get our ass kicked. Oh, excuse me, I didn't mean to curse. So we wouldn't get our butts kicked. So that's a story I'll always remember, just because of how hammered we got, how much we blew them out, and then we won the national championship that year, so that made it even more special. But I will never forget that night at Taco Mag back in 2008. Like, that thing always sticks with me. Now, I'm a lot older. I'm 40 now, so I'm not like that much anymore. I might be a little bit rambunctious if we win Saturday against Miami, because they deserve it. But other than that, it's like you're supposed to watch sports for fun. It's supposed to be something fun. If you want to talk sports trash, especially on Twitter, I don't mind it. I think it's funny. Like I'll talk it right back. But people get way too personal over it. And I'm just not that type of guy to get that personal over sports. Like, if somebody gets personal with me, that's different. But like, I'm not going to engage with it. Like, I'm not going to do that. Like, I just think it's hilarious. And, ever since I've watched Florida Gator games, listened to podcasts, listened to shows when I was younger, I've always wanted to do it too. Like, so I was like, man, I'm going to start something, see what happens. Right. And now, like, since 2018, I've grown to where we've grown now, especially with Hightop and all that. And I'm very humble about it. Like, it's something that, I go to Gainesville and I'll even hear somebody say, "Hey, it's Hightop Dave. He's just reporting the news." And I was just busting out laughing. And it happened to me at Alma Mater last year. I was in there and they were doing the DJ Lagway, just the displays for DJ Lagway. And I asked his agent, I was like, "Can I take pictures of this, or is it supposed to not be out there yet?" And he's like, "Nah, you can take pictures of it." So I took pictures of it, posted it. And there was one guy with his agent, and he's like, "Hey, are you Hightop Dave?" And I'm like, "Yeah." I was like, "You watch the show?" And he's like, "Yeah." And he's like, I said, "I'm just in here reporting news, man." And he's just busted out laughing. So, yeah, man. I mean, it's fun, man. Just the memories that you have of just past games, the things that can bring people together over just the Florida Gators is pretty cool. So I respect everybody's opinion. I know there's different people that they don't like Billy Napier. There's people that do. I see all sorts of takes, but I respect it. Like, it's just your opinion. Like, I'm not going to say otherwise, but if it's like very outlandish, I might say something, but most of the time it's just people is frustrated. So I get it.
No, I completely understand. You've probably seen me say, I don't care what people feel as long as they're consistent with it. Just don't gaslight me. Yeah, know.
Right. Yeah. I'm sorry. I'm so used to cursing on our show. I was like, okay, well, whoops, sorry.
Oh no, you're fine. So just getting to some of our random questions that we have, and this is always a fun one. What's your favorite uniform combo for Florida?
They're going to hate me for this too. I like the Fast F. Like, that's my favorite. And I think the only time they've ever won the Fast F was with the white helmets. So I would say white helmets, but I like the white and blue. Like, the white and blue are the ones that I really like. I mean, like, I don't mind white on white, because like, I think they did that with Anthony Richardson that one year. They won. So don't be mad at me. But I like the Fast F. Like, if they could make a different combo with the Fast F on the helmet, like, that would be pretty cool. Like, if they made it orange with a blue Fast F or something like that, that's my favorite logo. But I would say probably the combo of the white Fast F helmet and probably the blue jersey, blue trunks. I think that was the best one that I like. Now, it was funny. It's weird because I know when we were wearing the Gator skin uniforms, I was like, oh, when I first saw it, I was like, oh, these are pretty cool. And then the more and more I looked at it, I was like, oh, dude, this isn't that great. I thought it was. So I was just like, yeah, stick to regular uniforms and all that. But I did like the black combo that they did. That one was pretty good. So it could have been better.
That's a controversial take there.
It could have been better. It could have been better, but I liked it, but it's hard because you want to like certain combinations, but like, you want to take one thing away from it, or you want to take two. Like, I like the helmet, but I don't like this, or vice versa. So, well, that's when I say I kind of liked it, because there was things I would want to take away from it and probably design differently. But I'd say, like, yeah, the Fast F is like the logo I like the most. So if they put the Fast F on anything, I'm probably going to buy it.
Yeah, I've been looking for a Fast F white, like a white hat, not flat brim, but actually just a ball cap like this, and I can't find it. A white hat with a Fast F.
I got a blue one. I don't have a white.
Yeah. And what's funny is I don't look for straight white hats too much, but I've got a white shirt, which I'm not wearing to Miami. But I've got one. I'm like, a hat like this would look really good with it. Can't find it anywhere. I saw one that was kind of close. I'm like, but it was a style of hat. It's like, I can't do this, but oh well.
I hate it when you buy something and then like you put it on, you're like, oh, this don't look great. And you just wasted your money. You're like, man, this sucks.
Yeah. Oh man. So, I've got to ask, rival you like the least? Is it Georgia because you live up there, or do you have some other team that you just have a hate for, unlike any other?
Yeah, I would have to be Georgia just because I live here. Now, I will say Miami and put that in the category just because of how jerky their fan base is, but it has to be Georgia. Like, Georgia is like, I just can't stand it because I live here. And I'm just like, why did we let Georgia get this good? Like, why did we let them do this to us? Like, we were on top of the world, and then we just let them fire Mark Richt, bring in Kirby Smart, and just let them dominate recruiting. Like, how did that happen? And like that's the one thing that like just irks me the most is like it's getting to a point now, and I don't want to say anything too negative or too bad on here, but it's getting to a point now to where it's like, what are we doing with NIL? Like, what's Scott Strickland doing? Like, because now Tennessee's passing you up in recruiting. Now, I mean, now LSU's been passing you up for a while. Now you got Tennessee passing you up. You got Oregon coming up now. You got Texas in the SEC. They're not going to stop recruiting. Now you got Auburn on the rise. It's like, we started NIL. We started our first collective. We had the head start. What are we doing? Like, and you hear a lot of people pointing the finger at Scott Strickland. I'm an insider kind of guy. I know some details. Yeah, he needs to jump on NIL. And that's the thing that's really holding us back, is getting more donors. And the problem is, and I talked to this about the Pouncey twins, and they said, dude, NIL's not going away. I had a great pitch for Florida Victorious on that interview if you haven't watched it, but I was talking to them afterwards, and I was just like, we need more help with NIL. And nobody, like, we get these old boosters that think like, oh, well, Billy Napier's losing, so we shouldn't donate anymore. Well, the reason you're losing is because you're not getting talent. And to get talent, you need NIL to get the talent. So there's like a disconnect there. It's like, you got to connect the dots. Like, it doesn't matter whether you hate a coach that's not doing that well. It's like, you still have to give him the talent, because even if he doesn't do well, you'll have the talent for the next coach that comes in. Like, I mean, some of them will transfer, but most of them stay put to find out who the next head coach is going to be. And then you figure it out from there. So that's kind of, I didn't mean to go on a tangent there, but it was like, it's kind of like a wake up call. I'm trying to like tell everybody on these shows is like, dude, we got to pay more attention to NIL. I'm not saying you have to donate I'm not telling you what to do with your money. Like, if you know somebody that can, or you can, even if it's like $10 a month, like, that helps. Like, I still donate to it, even though we've lost our butts off. Yeah. I still donate to NIL because I want to see us do good. And I know if I do that, then everybody else will do it. And then we'll just be in the gutter like we are now. So, I mean, it's gotten to a point now to where I'm starting to get frustrated with like some of the boosters. I got to calm down, but I'm just like, guys, like, I still donate. Why can't you?
Yeah. For definitely. Always encouraging Florida Victorious. In fact, anyone that sees the thumbnail for this will see your Florida Victorious shirt and support.
That's why I picked the shirt.
Yeah, no, definitely donate to Florida Victorious. Help, even if do your part.
The lowest tier is like, I think 5 or 10. Like, like I said, I'm not telling you to do with your money, but like, if everybody did that, like, think about it. You won't even see $5 a month coming out of your account.
Yeah, true. I'm sure you could skip I almost said Chipotle run, but I love Chipotle too much to use that as an example. But, there's something you could skip out on, but not Chipotle.
Well, if you want to buy some Twin Pea whiskey, I can tell you it's pretty smooth. So if you want to use that for your money, go ahead too. But hey, Pouncey Brothers, I'm telling you, Pouncey Brothers whiskey hits, man. I ain't lying too. That's not sunshine and rainbows, me pumping it, whatever. Like, I hung out with the Pouncey twins like Friday, and they were so welcoming. We got in their little VIP booth and all that, and I started drinking that whiskey. I was like, man, this stuff is smooth. But I had it beforehand anyway. But like, you haven't had it a couple months. You're like, man, I forgot how smooth this stuff was. So like, I drank so much of that. I was pretty lit up when I went home, but didn't wake up with a hangover. So
there you go. So, Dave, for the people that may not know about Hightop, what can you tell us about Hightop Sports? When can they see it? Where can they see it?
Yeah, Hightop Sports, we're a little bit different. So we're more of like the fanatic. You'll get info out of our show. I'm supposedly that. So Shelton calls me, you're our little insider, man. Come on, man. You got to know this. You got to know that. But yeah, you get a lot of analysis and football analysis out of it, get some of our opinions, but we're more of a fanatic show. We like to have fun, cut loose, be comedic when we can. We try to obviously keep it. He likes to keep it more sunshine and rainbows. I like to be a little bit more honest, but I still say Gators by a million. I mean, Shelton's starting to grow on me, guys. But, yeah, I mean, if you're looking for the ultimate like fanatic show and you want to have fun and everything, check out Hightop Sports on YouTube. You check for the little flying pig out there in the corner. Hightop Sports is like a blue. I think he's got this is like a red kind of bluish kind of pig or whatever. I can't remember what the exact logo looks like in colors, but you can check us out there. You can follow me at HightopDave on Twitter. You can follow Shelton at Hightop Sport without the S on Twitter as well. And our website, www.hightopsport.com too. Whenever I do get time to write articles, I post them on there. Right now, I've been so busy, I haven't been able to post many articles unless somebody recruits, but those are going to be coming as soon as everything, dies down around with what I'm doing and everything else. So, we got a lot of good things in the future, and we'll be hanging out there at Alma Mater from 4 to 5 in Gainesville. If you're there in town on Friday, we'll be there at Alma Mater. Come check us out. Brian's a really cool dude. He does custom designs for Florida gear and everything else. And then we'll be at Harmonic Woods. I'm getting there early. I'm helping set up. So, 6 o'clock, I would say everybody get there around 7:30 or 8. If you're going to come by there, we set up at 6. So nothing's going to be set up yet. So, make sure you can sleep in a little bit and then come by Harmonic Woods around 8 o'clock.
Sounds good. And live shows on Wednesday, right?
Yep, doing a live show tomorrow. We're going to have Nate Barbera on with for Florida Victorious. We're supposed to have a Miami guy from Locked On Canes on as well. And supposed to have on another guest. I just can't think of the top of my head, but we're going to have 3 guests on. So we're going to have a loaded show. Yeah, Keith Niebuhr from On 3. He's going to be on there. There's a big visitor list for recruiting that's coming to Gainesville. So he'll be covering that part. So we got 3 guests lined up. We're going to have a loaded show tomorrow. So if you guys haven't checked out Hightop Sports, check us out live at 8:35. And yeah, I mean, it's fun, man. Like I said, this is one heck of a ride, and I'm here for it. I'll be here every single weekend on Hightop, no matter what happens, no matter what my schedule looks like. I always say 8:35, Dave live Wednesday, Hightop.
Oh yeah, sounds good, and I look forward to seeing it, and I look forward to the season and meeting you this week.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, just look for the smallest guy in the crowd. Find me.
Oh yeah.
with muscle.
Usually the tallest guy in the crowd, but
there you go. You'll probably find me like in the middle of like, you'd probably be like, hey, where's Hightop Dave at? It was like, oh wait, he's in the middle of all these people. He's hiding behind this guy.
Yeah, actually, spring game, I pointed you out to someone as you're waiting to get onto the field for the Florida Victorious autograph signing. I go, oh yeah, that's Dave Soderquist right there. They're like, really? I go, yeah, Dave's not quite as big as you would think.
I mean, I lift, but apparently lifting doesn't make your height taller. So,
which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I was down there shooting some video for him. So, yeah, that was a fun day.
Yep. All righty. Well, thank you for coming on. It's been a blast. It's been great hearing about you, and hopefully we can bring at least 1 or 2 people to Hightop, as I'm sure anybody listening to me has already had plenty of interactions and is big Hightop fans.
Yeah, we got to get Shelton on here now, man. I like what you're doing, though. I mean, like I said, we were talking before the podcast. Like your show's very different. You do a lot of these really cool interviews. It's like a lot of people talk Florida and they talk Gators, but you like to talk more of like I think it's cool that it's not really getting personal with people, but it's like getting personal with people's like Gator experiences and stuff like that. Nobody really does that I know. that's around here. So I do enjoy your podcast. I do listen to it a lot. It's one of my podcasts that I have in like my top 5 that I listen to. So
awesome. And I do appreciate that. Like, legitimately, first time you messaged me a few years ago, I was like, there's no way he listens to this. And then, you reached out and said, hey, I'd love to come on. And I was like, really? Yeah. All right. Well, we got to find a perfect weekend. What better week than the first week of the season?
Just so everybody knows, I reached out to him. He didn't reach out to me.
Yeah, I was too nervous to reach out to Dave and be like, hey, man, you want to come on this much smaller show than yours? And he's like,
don't want to do that.
Nah, man, I'm coming on. I'm like, yes, all right, let's do it. I
don't care how big or small the show is. I'll come on if I got the time. So, I mean, like, I could get you. I'm sure I could ask Dave or Shelton. They would come on too.
And maybe I'll meet them at Harmonic Woods and be able to be like, hey, you want to do this coming up soon?
Oh, she would do it totally.
Okay. And with that said, everyone, thank you for listening. And as always, go Gators.
Go.